Okay, so let's say you have a husband and he makes about 20 million Korean won. It's about 14,000 USD. 14,000 US dollars a month. Cha-ching! Jackpot! That's what you'd be thinking if you were a gold digger. You gold digger. Let's also say he takes you on 2 dates a week. You go out, you have a nice dinner with wine, whatever, do whatever you want to do. He gets all his housework done. And living in Korea where people's working hours is absolutely insane. People are gone all day and like barely see each other. Let's say this husband works at home because he's a developer. Everything is great, but he's a gamer. Would you consider divorce? One woman is, and she put her story out there online. On the one hand, you've got some women saying, 돈 아무리 많이 벌어도 게임 중독은 쫄래쫄래. Then you've got some women on the other side saying, 집에 존재해 주시는 것만으로 감사하죠. And then there were people like me who were like, girl, I will cut up some apples and snacks. I will make some cookies and I'll bring them in for you while you playing your video games. People have been debating online, YouTubers and stuff have been making videos about it, sharing their experiences, but let's get into it.
Let it bounce.
Hello, friends and family. This is Megan Moon, aka 저는 미국 사람입니다. Today's topic is a bit lighter than usual, but still very important, and I think maybe people could still relate, etc. I thought I would share my ideals on relationships, spending time together, games, hobbies, etc., and share some things about what Korean people think, especially about games. It seems like in Korea, people have a very negative view of games, and that's because in the news and media, there have been some crazy stories related to people being addicted to games. Like, for example, there was this one story of this married couple who was so addicted to online games, they would go to the PC bongs, you know, the PC rooms, the internet cafes. They went there to game so much that actually they had a 3-month-old baby at home, and they would leave the 3-month-old baby at home. They hadn't fed their baby so much that their baby actually was starved to death. And the irony is the game that they were playing online, they were actually raising a virtual baby. Raise your own real baby. But apparently these people had given up on life. They hadn't really eaten much. They both quit their jobs and they literally were just playing this game all day, every day and not living real life. A 22-year-old killed his mom because she kept nagging him to stop playing video games. I think it's obvious that these people had other stuff going on in their heads, and it's not necessarily the fault of the games. And it seems like a lot of media really demonizes games in Korea, and so they try and do things to prove that games are bad or violent and stuff. And I don't know, like, the full science on that, and I'm sure it does have negative impacts on some people, but some of the stuff is a bit disingenuous. They actually did an experiment where they went into an internet cafe full of people and they set up hidden cameras. They turned off the electricity. Everybody was upset, obviously. And they're like, see, people are violent when they can't play their games. Now, if I'm in the middle of doing anything and the electricity goes off, I might swear too, because there have been times where I've been like editing video or doing something on the computer and the electricity turns off and I'd be wanting to say too. But it's also interesting because in Korea, esports is so big. Like, Korea has like the #1 players in the world for like certain online games that I don't know about because I'm not an online gamer. And there are certain things in place to protect children. For example, minors are not allowed to be in the internet cafes and the PC rooms after 10 p.m., which I think is a great way to protect kids and keep them from being out all night. And there was this one law that was around from 2011 and it ended in 2022, and that was anyone under the age of 16 can't be playing online games between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. Obviously, doing things in excess is not good, and if you're playing video games to the point where you can't get anything else done in your real life and you're foregoing responsibilities, etc., then that's not good. Like, there was this story that was in the news of this guy who was at a PC room and he played StarCraft for 50 hours straight, didn't eat or anything, and then he went into cardiac arrest. Obviously, someone like that, that's a problem, right? Real addiction. But because of all the stuff in the media, etc., there's people who just have a negative view of video games and don't think of it as being a real hobby. I love reading. If you give me a book, obviously I have kids now, but before kids, I could get a book and sit down and read for 12 hours straight. But nobody says I'm addicted to reading. And there are a lot of Korean people online who sort of feel that same sentiment. Why is it if, you know, the wife wants to sit down and watch a drama series or something, we don't say she's addicted to dramas, but if somebody wants to play a few hours of video games, and we say they're addicted to video games. There's this YouTuber named Lee Sup. He's a Korean YouTuber, and he posts about people are posting online about Korea, dating and marriage and stuff. And he talked about this topic, and he actually shared a story. He said, you know, when I was a little bit younger, I was dating this girl, and me and my guy friends went out to a PC room, and literally all night we just played online games together, and my girlfriend hated it. And he's like, why? And then the girlfriend said, 인생 망한 사람 같아. And the girlfriend said, I'd prefer that you be out drinking or something instead, because that doesn't seem like a loser. You know, you have a life, you're out with these friends, like drinking. And he's like, but I was out with my friends. We were just playing online games together. Anyway, he said a few years later, he was in a situation where he'd met her again after they had been broken up. And he was like, oh, how are you doing? You know, are you dating? She's like, yeah, I have a boyfriend. He's like, how is it? She's like, 죽겠어. 맨날 나가서 친구들이랑 술을 먹어. And so he was like, I thought you said that one time that you prefer that I be out drinking and stuff instead of playing video games. And she said, 게임은 얼마나 건전한 취미인지 몰랐어. So a lot of people in Korea, like their guys just like sitting out with his friends playing video games, they feel like it kind of looks and feels like, you know, a loser, like the image is just not that good. I don't know, I think opposite. Especially because in Korea, things are open all night. And temptations be lurking, honey. I made a video about cheating in Korea, about how it's quite prevalent. So if I have to choose between a husband who's out late drinking and somebody who's home playing video games, or even out like at a PC room playing video games, I much prefer the person who's playing video games than the person who's gonna go out drinking. Okay, but to get a little serious, I think on both sides, people don't understand the sort of emotional and psychological aspects of it. I think in any relationship, people do need to have time spent together, uninterrupted time with no phones. And one thing that I've noticed in my personal life is if I start nitpicking at something, like for my husband a lot, then I realize that it means that I just need more affection or more attention, or I want more of his time. So you do have to be vulnerable in that way, instead of just blaming the games and maybe going and approaching the husband and saying, hey, you play too much games, stop playing games. I think a much better and healthier way to say, hey, you know, I feel like I need more of your time. And I think that if you married a decent human being, they would probably be like, oh, okay, you know, how could I do that for you? And then you guys could figure out a schedule. I think divorce is a bit much. In her post, she did say that she talks to him of like, stop playing games. And he's like, why are you trying to change me what I do? So I think the way that she approached it might have been off, and that's off-putting her and making her, you know, go to divorce because she feels like her feelings are not being heard. But I think a lot of people don't realize that if you feel like you're not getting enough affection, that is something that you sort of have to humble yourself, be vulnerable and say, hey, you know, I need more of your time. I even had to do that with Mr. Moon a couple times. I was like, look, I need more hugs. I don't want no little short hug. Like, I just want a good hug. Like, I need it. And tell me I'm beautiful more, please. And when I approach him with stuff like that, you know, I think most of the time, as long as you didn't marry a sleazeball or like a narcissist or like an asshole, then most of the time they'll see that and be like, oh, okay. And then they'll spend more time with you. So I think with the video games, in this situation, the woman said that she also works. She didn't put in all the specific details, but I'm just thinking like, okay, you know, the husband works at home, right? He's at home working. Let's say she gets off work, comes home. Maybe she needs, you know, some time at that time. Like when I come home from work, maybe we spend a little time together, eat a little meal together, talk, hug, whatever, and then you can play video games or whatever for the rest of the night. A lot of the men in the comments were saying, you know, he takes you on 2 dates a week. You know, he seems like he's a homebody type. He works from home. He plays video games from home. Like, you know, going out to take you on these 2 dates is something that he's doing for you. He probably would rather be at home playing games, but he's doing that to match you. So some people were saying, well, have you tried playing video games with him? Maybe there's some games that you guys like and play together. Like, if you want to spend time with him, it shouldn't just be stuff that you want to do. And I also agree with that. I think you can't just always do what one person wants to do. And I think if you do want to go on a good date with your partner, you could figure out other things that he likes to do and maybe try and do those things together. But based on her comments, she was saying like, he's a game addict and all that stuff. But people who are addicts, like, can't actually get their other work and stuff done. He's just using it to fill in his spare time. But surprisingly, so many people were saying, get a divorce, games are so bad and stuff. And then there were some people who were saying stuff like, you know, I'd rather be with a man who makes maybe $3,000, but like doesn't do that, play games. And you are absolutely entitled to like and want what you like, but I guess it's hard for me to understand why people think game hobbies are particularly bad when someone like me can literally sit down and read a book and not even see what's happening around me all day. Some people in the comments were saying, well, you guys don't have kids yet, so I think it's okay as long as, you know, after you guys have kids, then he's taking on those extra responsibilities that he needs to and cuts back on. Of course, you know, if you have kids, when you're at home, you can't just be sitting around playing computer all day. Then there were some other people in the comments who were saying stuff like, why don't you make a day schedule? Like, what if Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he sits with you and watches whatever Netflix drama or movie you want to watch, and then on the other nights of the week, maybe you guys just have dinner together and the rest of the evening he plays video games. You gotta be able to work something out. So I have to ask, in this situation, how would you handle it? How would you approach your partner about it? And do you even care if your partner has the hobby of playing games? But if someone's taking care of all of their responsibilities, you're going out on dates and whatnot, then do you care if your partner games or not? Do you think gaming is a weird hobby? If so, then what hobbies do you think are good hobbies? What are your hobbies? I'm just curious to know down below, and I'm actually really curious to like keep finding out about that situation in the next couple months to see what happens. But I really hope that she don't divorce that man for playing the games. Like, please, guys, go get some therapy, because I think all of these things could definitely be worked out. So if you like this video and you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe to my YouTube page, which is down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, like me on Facebook, and I will see ya.